G'day fellas and welcome to a casted game. Spawning up on the west side of the map, we've got Fix playing as the Delhi Sultanate once again. And on the other side of the map, we've got the one, the only, the Viper. And he is going to be playing the Holy Roman Empire for us today, starting us off with a prelate, heading straight into some villages. Not going to be messing around with a second scout in this game. Now, this map is French Pass. You guys will be very familiar with this map. It's been around since, I think, the very, very first closed beta. Am I able to say that? Can I say that? Anyway, I remember back in the olden days, sometimes you'd get these spawns where there would be a pass through the middle like this. You can see how Viper and Fix have managed to get such close spawns. Realistically, very, very close to having a way through. But unfortunately, it doesn't look like it's going to go through. Viper scouts that one out and realizes it's not going to be all the way through. But for anybody who's watching this game, we actually saw a game between these two guys just earlier today. So these guys doing a little bit of the rematch. Now, you'll see that up at the top right-hand corner, Viper currently ranked 84. Fix, about double the rank, 165. So not too bad for him, not too shabby for Fix. Pretty darn good rating there. So let's take a look and see exactly what he's up to. He's playing the Delhi, so you can expect a couple things out of him. First and foremost, you can expect that there is going to be a mill researching wheelbarrow. Indeed, there is. He's got his moss scout already. Efficient production is the way he's going to be going, and opening us up with a mining camp. So not actually looking to go for an early lumber camp here. And this is something that's quite curious, because normally that's something that we do see the Delhi players do. So a little bit of a fast age up here. I'm curious to see what direction he looks to go, whether he goes, straight up into age 2 and looks to secure the sacred sites, because this is a map where the double sacred sites are incredibly important for the Delhi. So we've seen players, so I remember there was a game, I want to say Marine Lord versus Casfa. Game 1. China versus the Delhi Sultanate. Marine Lord spawns on this side. Casfa spawns down here. And Casfa walls him in. And at first I was a little bit suspicious, but then the walls really stick. And he just continues to wall the entire game. I think he even went compound to the defender, walling non-stop, and just had a sacred site victory. So we could potentially see something out of Fix today, very similar to that. But we'll have to wait. We'll have to see exactly how he looks to play it as he brings in quite a handful of sheep in. Now, keep in mind, in the most recent patch, the berry gather rate, as well as the amount that they can drop off, has been slightly improved for these civilizations. So I think they went from 25% up to 30% bonus. So take what a normal civilization gets, give them an extra 25%, and then give them an extra 5% on top of that. And that's the most recent buff. In addition to that, they also carry a little bit more of the berries. Let's see if we can find one who's got here. We'll watch this guy here as she goes to work and gets forced to drop off. No, don't do it like this. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and then going to drop off after that. So you can see that typically that would be only a 10, but now going to be looking to gather up on that straggler tree. Probably going to be heading out and dropping down that lumber camp. A very curiously shaped forest that he's got here, but it does look quite safe. And do have the double scout coming out as well for Fix. So he's going to have plenty of knowledge about what's going on out on the map. When it comes to Viper's side, we've got the Meinwork Palace. Oh my lord. Now, this is something that I theorized, okay? Just to sort of explain. So, realistically, when it comes to the Holy Roman Empire, how do you play it? You play it with the Archon Chapel. And why do you play it with the Archon Chapel? Well, it's just a really good landmark, right? Like, it's a very solid landmark. If you were to put it in this exact spot here, you'd be buffing up the wood line, you'd be buffing up the gold mine, you'd be buffing up the town center with all of the sheep underneath it. You'd be absolutely fine. But here we see something a little bit different. And I think this is really smart from Viper. He's got the double prelates out. So what do we know about the prelate? In the most recent patch, the prelate was buffed. It was buffed in a number of ways. Number one, it increased the range, or they increased the range that the prelate can do his little buff animation. So normally it would only be 3 tiles. So a town, just to give you a little bit of insight, so a town center is 4 tiles across, a house is 2 tiles across. So if you think about that, so you can see these two guys here, they're pretty much next to each other. So normally it would be 3. So from about here up to this corner, you could buff out, but they've increased it to 4 tiles. So he's able to stand nice and solidly in the middle here and just buff up these villages where before he probably would have had to have moved around a little bit. And look at Viper actually catching out the scout. Oh my lord. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, we've got ourselves a little bit of a feast coming down on the gold mine. Oh my god. How does he do that? What a god. Oh my lord, there is a reason why we refer to him as the greatest of all time, and that is it. This guy has been playing Age of Empires 2 for the last couple of weeks, comes back to AoE 4, and within, this is probably like his third or fourth game, he's straight back at it, and he's catching scouts in the gold mine. You couldn't do that. If you tried it, you couldn't do that in 100 attempts. And he just comes in first game, bam, does it, smashes it, beautiful. So let's talk a little bit about this landmark, the Meinwork Palace, because this is a landmark that, realistically, you guys probably wouldn't have much familiarity with. I mean, unless you played Age of Empires 4 in the very, very beginning, where the Holy Roman Empire would sort of do this meta-arm timing push, and they would go for the Meinwork Palace. So the Meinwork Palace is going to reduce the costs of all of your upgrades. And speaking of upgrades, take a look at that bad boy right there. We got some professional scouts on the way in. So it will reduce the cost of all of your upgrades from the blacksmith. I think it's 25%. I want to say 25%. Let's have a look. Acts like a blacksmith. Technology research here costs 25% less. Okay, so one of the other big things, obviously, is it acts as a blacksmith. So you don't have to drop that 150 wood for the blacksmith. And then obviously you've got the cheaper techs as well. And you can just see how cheap they are. Like 25% really makes it just an absolute bargain. And so that was a combination that we had seen a lot. But the other thing to note is that obviously Viper here, sitting very happily. It does look like he's thinking about going up to the castle age. Obviously has the stable out to get a few more scouts out to help out with those professional scouts. And we do see the walls coming down on the mini-map. One of the theories that I've sort of played around is that you could potentially run a Meinwork Palace into a Burgrave, I think it's called the Burgrave Castle? Burgrave Palace? Burgrave Theatre? I don't even know what the name of it is, because that landmark we even see more rarely, because we normally have the Regnitz Cathedral, the Age 3 landmark. But this landmark enables you to train units in batches of 5. And when you think about it, right, like if I told you, what if I could give you a barracks for free that can make 5 units at a time? You'd be like, hell yeah, baby, that sounds freaking overpowered. Let's do it. Except you don't do it. You know why you don't do it? Because you got the Regnitz Cathedral. But realistically, when you talk about the Regnitz Cathedral, there's one thing that you got to remember as a couple of archers begin to move forward. Even though not only is there an opportunity cost, but the thing is, right, let's say that you capture those 3 relics. You're still going to have a trickle of 300 gold. So it's not like that gold isn't existent. There's nothing that stops you from going up with the other landmark and then just picking up those relics. Obviously, it's nice to have 900 gold in the back pocket, but you got to think about it. The potential for an all-in for the Holy Roman Empire is incredibly significant. If they were to go for this landmark, especially if they were to put it in a forward position, I don't really know how you'd get away with that. You can actually see Viper here dropping down quite a fair bit of infrastructure, so I don't think he's going to be going that route. But you know, it's always a possibility. He's actually picking up some of the technologies now, so going for marching drills, iron undermesh, and we do indeed see our first scholar out on the map looking to pick up the sacred sites, and Viper already out here with the scouts. He's got scouts on both of these sacred sites. You are so cheeky, Viper. I love watching you play, Viper. I'll be honest. It's great to have him back, honestly. It is great to have him back. And now this wolf going to be helping out, doing a little bit. I think this is the only unit left in the game that can do animation cancelling. The wolf going to be out here. You can see he's actually cancelled his animation, and now he's just sitting on the sacred site. That's what we mean by animation cancelling. But now back at the base of Viper, it looks like he's got a couple of early meta arms out, and he's doing pretty well. But double sacred site still slowly but steadily getting captured here. You can see they did get warded off. Let's go with warded off. I think that sounds politically correct and technically correct, which, as far as I'm aware, is the best type of correct. Okay, hot tip. If you're playing Delhi and you build double blacksmith, chuck your research in it instantly. You know why? It's free. You don't have to pay anything for it. So, you know, just 1, 2... 1, 2. There you go. Look at that. Fix listening. As we cast him is listening. Sacred Site number 1 goes over to Fix. He's a very happy camper. Sacred Site number 2, not yet captured. Was obviously defended very valiantly by that wolf. And it looks like, unfortunately, he's going to have to go into the afterlife. I don't know. I'm trying to think of a cheeky comment to make about the wolf. Hear how happy those guys are that they managed to kill the wolf? Now we've got that Regnitz Cathedral coming down. Let's do a quick assessment. We'll see where the relics are. Normally, okay, a win or a loss for the Holy Roman Empire can depend on the spawn of relics. Spawn number 1, up towards the north. Good relic. We've got an equalizer up towards the north over here of the base for Fix. So 1 and 1. We'll give that an even. We've got another relic that spawns relatively even. Another even relic. This one a little bit favored towards Viper, but at the same time, I would call this one of the most even spawns you will ever see. If I was playing the Holy Roman Empire, I would be happy with this with regard to it being even. If I was playing another Civ against the Holy Roman Empire, I'd be happy that it was an even spawn. If every spawn looked like that for relics, I'd be a happy gamer. But speaking of gamers, Viper now going to be going for that siege engineering. Going to be looking to potentially do a timing push with men-at-arms and rams, but the primary difference here is that he's going to have relics behind it. So Prelate obviously being able to pick that one up. We see some villagers moving out. Still got the Prelate sitting out here. Doesn't look like he's managed to break through the walls just yet. Does have the rams coming out. Now, this is something I've fallen victim to as well. Do not underestimate the speed at which rams can siege you down. And speaking of speed, 24 villagers on the compound of the defender right there. That's a lot of that is a lot of villagers right there. But Viper now going to be slowly but steadily getting that battering ram up towards the north. It looks like Fix continuing to stay affixed upon those sacred sites. Yes, I just said that. I just did that. Sorry. Let's get another beautiful look at this this Meinwork palace. I love the way. Oh gosh, you can get quite high. Look at that. Looks so weird from up here. Everybody looks like ants. Grandpa, we're still on the ground. You guys know the Simpsons reference? I think they're going on a holiday, and Grandpa Simpson says, everybody looks like ants, and they're just sitting on the tarmac. I don't think he's wearing his glasses. Yeah, it's a Simpsons reference. It's a Simpsons reference in a Drongo video. Name a more iconic combo. I'll wait. I know. Rank 1 players and animation cancelling. There it is. But speaking of there it is, it looks like we've got a couple of the Landsconnects coming out onto the field. You can tell the Landsconnects by their beautiful golden pants. But now it looks like we've got ourselves a little bit of trouble because Viper is going to be able to catch Fix with his pants down here. He's attempting to finish a wall here and going to be able to get in on top of that sacred site. Going to begin the countdown on that one. And you can see him actually trying his best. But Fix doing a good job of giving him the runaround. This is exactly what he wants to do. So he wants to run around in front of the stone wall tower because then it's going to be able to shoot. Now, these bad boys have got 180-degree views, you know, luxury views. And, well, technically they've got 360-degree views, but they've only got 180 degrees of firing. So it means that, unfortunately, over on this side, you're going to be quite open. So that's something to always be considerate of. Considerate of? That's always something to consider. Let's go with that one. But let's check back in with Viper, see how he's doing. He's got one relic in the Regnets at the moment. Now, keep in mind, there are more relics out here. He's dropping down a siege workshop in quite a forward position here, right next to the second relic. Can I just say, why does my game look so beautiful right now? I don't know why that is. It looks really, really good. But going to be cleaning up this sacred site. Viper looking for a pretty nice Holy Roman Empire timing push. I got to say, I really do like this coming out from him. This is looking pretty difficult to stop. Now, from the perspective of Fix, what is the best approach for him when you see this coming? Well, my first thought is, okay, I want to get out a whole bunch of knights and crossbows. That's what I'm thinking about. I'm definitely not thinking about tower wall elephants. The problem he's going to have is this bad boy down here, because you and I both know exactly what is queued up in that. That's a mangonel. That's a mangonel. And that mangonel is going to spoil the end of any potential crossbow shenanigans that may or may not be happening. So now it looks like his opponent is incredibly, in such a difficult spot. And it looks like he's going to just tap out. Fix tapping it out. A very short, a very quick game coming out right there between Viper and Fix. But Viper definitely showing us the power of the Meinwork Palace. Absolutely beautiful stuff. I'll leave a link in the description over towards Viper's channel. Make sure you go check him out. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching.